What's up everybody? And I imagine as gyms start to open up again, as people start to get back into training, you are going to experience a hell of a lot of DOMS and a hell of a lot of soreness. And I thought it'd be appropriate to address exactly what DOMS are, what are the benefits, what are the costs, and then how can you reduce your soreness as you start getting back into training, start getting back into the gym. Let's cover that off in this video. So, what are DOMS? What is this soreness that we get from training? Well, we've known about DOMS, we've known about muscle soreness since 1902. The phenomenon is more than 100 years old. And it's that pain or stiffness you get in a muscle after you've trained it particularly hard. You've probably found this has happened when you first started training or when you've taken a lot of time away from the gym and you get back into it and that first workout back just destroys you. It's that feeling, you know, when you need to sit down, suddenly you're 90 years old, you need like a Zimmer frame or something just to get down to the chair. On a muscular level, it's those micro traumas, that tearing of the muscle that causes this kind of inflammation and this damage where we feel that pain the next day or for the following few days if you've really gone at it hard. And it's that time where your muscle's adapting, and that adaptation actually does lead to growth. So surely getting really sore is really good, right? Well, no. A study by Nokasa et al. In 2008 found that the level of muscle soreness did not correlate to the level of muscle damage. So people could get exponentially sore, but not get as much muscle damage, which we could extrapolate to mean did not get as much muscle growth. So there seems to be a threshold where you can get reasonably sore and grow to a certain extent, or you can just get sore and not grow anymore. So it makes sense actually that we want to be monitoring muscle damage, we want to be monitoring muscle soreness to not be just completely burying ourselves into the ground for no benefit, because muscle soreness does not equal a fantastic workout. So what are the benefits to getting muscle soreness, to getting DOM? The biggest benefit I can think of is it's a sign you trained that muscle you wanted to train. If you go in for a leg day, but all you got was lower back soreness, really sore traps, chest for some reason, you'll know that perhaps some of the exercises you selected were not really the best for you developing your legs. So the biggest benefit to getting some soreness is that you trained that muscle. Like, it's good to get a little bit sore. You train that muscle effectively to a point where it had a bit of soreness there, you did some damage, it's gonna repair, it's gonna grow, you're gonna adapt. That's really good. The other benefit of getting some soreness in the target muscle is it's a good gauge of your training volume. If you go and train 8 sets on your chest and you wake up the next day and you could easily train your chest again, that's a sign that maybe you didn't train either enough volume or hard enough. So you can push forward, you can add some volume in there and maybe do some more sets on the next training session. Equally, if you went in and you did 20 sets for chest and you can't even move your arm above your head, every time you mildly go to reach to open a door you get cramp in your chest, maybe you did a little bit too much. So one of the other big benefits of muscle soreness is we can use it to manipulate, also regulate our training volume moving forward. Other than that though, there's not a heap of benefits beyond that. So this is where the cons come in and where we can get a little bit more into the weeds where it comes to muscle soreness. The biggest con really is that it's going to impact your future training. If you get so sore, let's say you've again trained your chest on a Monday and you have your next push session on a Wednesday or a Thursday and you're still sore to the point where it's impacting how much work you can do in that following session, it's clearly a con. It's clearly not actually doing you any benefit because you're not going to be able to trigger future hypertrophy moving forward. Following on from that, that means you're actually limiting potential future growth and muscle gain, because when you train, you dig yourself into a little bit of a hole, you get sore, you adapt a little bit more than where you started at, and then you grow from there. But the problem is, if you're so sore that you're missing being able to train at that point where you grew and adapted further than where you were before, you're not going to be growing. So again, if you train your legs and you're sore for an entire week, to the point where you don't get to train your legs again within that kind of window of opportunity for future growth, you're missing out. You're just going to be spinning your wheels. And this is where I find a lot of kind of the people who are kind of intermediate trainees with a not very well designed or thought out program or coach are spinning their wheels for sometimes years, because they're just constantly getting really, really sore, missing opportunities to train again where there's a good time to create a new stimulus and get more growth. Actually, they're still just sore, and they're just constantly getting back to their point of homeostasis when they're not sore again, and then they train themselves into the ground, miss their opportunity to grow, train again at the point where they left off, and they're just in this constant cycle. So again, it impacts your chance to train well in the future, and if it's so sore, causes you to miss workouts and miss opportunities for growth. Downstream from that, maybe fat loss is your goal. You know, if you get so sore in your training that you don't do your steps, you don't do your cardio because you're so sore that it actually physically hurts to jump on the treadmill or the bike or the cross trainer, again, that soreness is doing you no favors now. You're not getting any benefit from being that sore in your workout. It'd be much better if you just pared back your intensity or your volume so that it allowed you to do that work in the future. And now you're making progress. Now suddenly you're in a spot where you can actually do some really, really good stuff. The other con I've seen from getting really, really sore is a little bit more esoteric. It's just that people go out there chasing the soreness. They're never actually chasing a good training session, because what they think a good training session is their inability to walk the next day. But go and do 300 air squats right now. You're going to be sore tomorrow. But were those 300 squats actually benefiting you when it comes to improving your physique? Probably not, compared to doing something a little bit more structured. But you're still super, super sore. You still can't walk the next day. So again, people end up going to chase this soreness, and to be honest, more or less anything can get you sore. Especially if it's a novel stimulus, if it's something new. If you go and do something new, workout after workout after workout, you'll get sore every single time, but you probably won't be growing or improving your physique as much as you perhaps could if you just did something with more structure. So how can you reduce DOMS when they do come in? And they will come in. One of the biggest things that's going to affect your recovery after your training is going to be your food intake, specifically protein. Make sure you maintain your daily protein intake, keep those protein feedings pretty consistently spread throughout the day, and that's going to be what repairs that damaged muscle on a cellular, molecular level. Another big thing that will help your DOMS, at least kind of short to medium term, is maybe something like an Epsom salt bath. These kind of magnesium salts that you chuck in the bath, let it soak into your skin. You're going to get this like transdermal, or like through the skin absorption of the magnesium. Putting a raw ingredient right into the body is going to help you alleviate the muscle. And then the heat of the bath as well probably plays a short-term role in just relieving some of that soreness, at least short to medium term. And then the other big thing that people don't do but they need to do probably is actually get active again. I know, it's particularly in the legs, it can be so painful to the point where you just don't want to do anything, but you'll probably find if you go for a walk, or if you have like a bike or something like that, and just a really gentle bit of activity just to get that blood flow moving through some of those tissues, because that's again what's causing that soreness, is just it's really stiff. There's not much blood flow going on when there's that inflammation, that stiffness in the muscle. So get moving, get some blood flow going, get some heat back into the muscle again, will actually help alleviate those symptoms of being really, really sore, even though it does feel pretty bad at the time. But you'll find after you've warmed up and you've done a bit of activity and then you've got back again, you'll be much less sore than when you left off. So hopefully that helps. When you get back in the gym, don't go and kill yourself. Don't go searching for soreness. Just understand what happens when it does occur, adjust your training accordingly moving forward, and go out there and make some gains. Hopefully that video helped. So if it did, drop it a like, share it around to anyone who's getting back in the gym after the lockdown, and I will catch you in the next one.